Welcome to Asimo Fashion Academy Online. Guys, I decided to put this up here for you to see and taste how simple my pattern drafting method really is. You see, over the years I've worked with the flat cutting method, which is also known as the freehand cutting, and I can tell you boldly and confidently that the pattern drafting method gives the most perfect fit. Drafting together the basic bodice block or sloper is my start line, and I've labeled it. Always label so you don't mix it up or you don't get confused. Here's my armhole line or my bust point line, so that means I have my armhole line and my bust point on the same line. And here's my under bust line and then my waist line, which I represent with W. So I have my formula written here already, so you need to also write your own accurate formula as well. And so I'll start by putting my bust point measurements, which is 7. So 7 divided by 2, so 3.5. So I come here and I put my 3.5 measurements, and then I pick up my pattern master and I draw a straight line. I can get a straight line from my pattern master, so I just draw it like so. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be taking 1/2 inch on both sides on the waistline. Here's the waistline. I'll take out 1/2 inch. Can you see? 1/2 inch on both sides, because I want to draw my waist dart. I want to construct my waist dart. So 1/2 inch on both sides, and then I connect it to this point, the bust point. So once that is done, the next thing I want to do is to construct my shoulder dart. This is my waist dart, so I want to construct my shoulder dart. So I'm going to extend this dart leg. This dart leg here that is nearer to the fold point of my bodice, I'm going to extend it to the start line. Just watch what I'm doing. I will extend it to this point. So once I've extended it, I will determine how much I want to use as my shoulder dart. Now I can go between 3 and 5 inches. So I'll just do 3.5. You can do between 3 and 5 inches depending on the size of who you're working with. So I connect. So this will serve as my shoulder dart. Once I've done that, I'm going to come this way, and then I'll fold this line, and I want it to meet up with this line here. So I'll just fold it this way. Remember, we're trying to create a shoulder dart. So that's why we're going through this process. So we'll come this way. And then I'll be holding it with my paper tape. So can you see where my folding is ending? I stopped my folding around here. So it's not going to extend below the bust point. It's going to be on the bust point exactly. So with my paper tape, I'll be holding it down. You can see I have to tape it down with my paper tape. So my shoulder dart is constructed already. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll just insert my measurements on the bust line. I will insert my measurement. So I'm working with bust 37. 37 divided by 2, 9.25. 9.25 plus 1, I have 10.25. So I'll just come here and I'll put 10.25. On my waistline, I'm working with 29. 29 divided by 4, 7.25 plus 2, 9.25. Remember, the 2 is for that allowance and for seam allowance. So I'll just mark 9.25 around there. So that's 9.25. And then with my pattern master, I'll connect the 2 points. Alright, and so now the 2 points have been connected, and then the next thing I want to do, can you see the bulge already? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, you can see now that we are having 2 different lines here. So we need to extend one and discard one. So we're going to be extending this one and we'll discard the other. We extend this one, we discard this 1 here. And so the next thing, I'm going to be inserting my shoulder measurements. Remember, I'm working with shoulder 15 divided by 2, 7.5, 7.5 divided by 7.5 minus 1, 6.5. And the reason why I'm taking away 1 from my shoulder is because I want it to give me a fit, a perfect fit. So that's why I'm taking out the 1 inch. So that means I'm going to be using 6.5 for my shoulder line. But before I do that, I'm going to mark my 3/8 standard measurements. I'm going to mark my 3/8 standard measurements. On the 0.8, I'll come down by 1.5 inch. Come down by 1.5 inch, and then I'll connect it this way. I'll connect it this way. So once I connect it, the next thing I'm going to do is that my neck, for my neck measurements, I'm working with 14. 14 divided by 6 is 2 to 3rd. So I'm going to be using 2 to 3rd as my neck width measurement. Or you can just go ahead and do 3 by 3. You can just do 3 by 3. And you know, what I'm using in total is 6.5. So if I've marked 3 here, I'll come here and I'll mark the remaining 3.5. Do you understand? I've marked 3 and then I'm marking, so at the end of the day I have 6.5 on my shoulder line because I've taken away 1 inch from 7.5. all right, so I'm going to connect these points now to this to form my armhole. All right, so that's my armhole. Over here I'll come down again by 3 inches, or you can just, like we calculated, the 2/3. So you can do it, or we do 2.5. Depends. You know, that's your natural neckline. That's your natural neckline. So I'll just curve. You can use your curve to do this. You can use your curve. So that's the neckline. Can you see? And then we have our bulge already. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put another, that line here, so that this pattern can lay flat. All right, so this pattern can lay flat. I want to add another dark line here so that I can cut it off from that point, and then my pattern can lay flat. You see what I mean now? So from here now, I'll just use my scissors and I'll cut out. I want my pattern to lay flat. All right, I want my pattern to lay flat. So here can you see what I'm doing? So from this point, I'll just slash it open. This is under bust, remember? And I did a straight line down to the bust point. So you can see my pattern is laying flat now. My pattern has laid flat. So now I have my shoulder dart. I have my dart on my waist, and I also have that on the side, or the under bust. Either you call it the side dart, or you call it the under bust dart. All right, so but it's popularly called the side dart. So the next thing we're going to be drafting the back. So I'll just turn my paper to the other side and I'll draft my back measurements. You can see that I can easily turn it because it's flattened. If I had not cut it that way, it won't be flat, and I won't be able to, or I'll have to open up my paper before I can do the back. And so for the back, I'll just mark my zip allowance. 1 inch is okay for your zip. Zip allowance 1 inch is okay. It shouldn't be more than 1 inch, because if you make it 2 inches, you can't add it to your measurements. If your cloth become tighter, you can't say, this cloth is tight, okay, now let me loosen out the zip allowance and add to it. You can't do that. So why make it more than 1 inch? 1 inch is okay as your zip allowance. So that's our zip allowance. And then we're going to be putting we're going to constructing that also for this part. And then the way I do, I like my dart to be at the center of the back. I like my dart to be at the center of the back. So what I do is that I will say calculated waist, minus 1 divided by 2. So if we come to this front, we'll see that our calculated waist here is actually what, 9.5. Can you remember? You can even write your measurement there, so that if you want, you can easily refer to it So here we have 9 1/4 as our calculated waist. On the bust line, we used 10 1/4 as our calculated bust line. So our calculated waist is 9 1/4. So we come here and we say 9 1/4. We come here, we say 9 1/4. Can you see? 9 1/4 minus 1 divided by 2. So 9 1/4 minus 1, that's 8. 8 1/4 divided by 2. So at the end of the day, we have so guys, that's 4/1/8. All right, and so I'm going to come here and I'll mark 4/1/8. 4/1/8, that's just 1 bar. After 4 inches, 1 bar, that's 4/1/8. And I use my pattern master to get a straight line, and I draw it, connect it this way. So once I do that, I'll mark my half inch on both sides. Remember that standard, half inch on both sides, and then I connect it to the armhole line or the bust point line. I connect it. All right, so once that is done, the next I'm going to do, I'm going to be putting my measurement. Remember, on this line we have 10 1/4, so we'll put our 10 1/4 here. We have 10 1/4. On the waistline we have 9 1/4. Remember, so I have 9 1/4. So I'm going to be connecting with my pattern master like so. So once that is done, I'm going to come to my shoulder line, and I'll also do my 3 1/8 standard. 3 1/8 standard. So from the 8th mark, I'm going to come down by 1 1/2 inch. That's 1 1/2 inch, and then I'll connect. So once I connect, there's another thing I want you to understand also with this method. Remember that we used 3 inches for the width of our back. The wideness of our front neck, we use 3 inches, sorry. Not, I'm talking about the front. We use 3 inches for the wideness of the neckline. So for the back, we're going to be using 3 1/2 inches. So that means that each time we draft our neckline, the back width is always wider by ½ inch. But the depth has nothing to do with it. The depth can be whatever. You can use 7 in front, you can use 10 at the back, you can use 3 in front, use 5 at the back. But for the width, you will always add ½ inch. All right? For the width, the difference between the front and the back, for the width, you always add ½ inch. So since we use 3 inches for the front, for the back, we're going to be using 3 1/2 inches, which I've marked here. And so for the shoulder joining, we are going to use the same thing we used in the front for the back, because the two of them must come together. All right, so for the back, for the front, for our shoulder joining, we used 3 1/2. So for the back also, we are going to be using 3 1/2. All right, and so I'm going to be connecting it to the armhole. Connect it like so. So I'll connect it, and then for this place, you can come whatever height you want, and so I'll be coming down by 1 1/2 inch. Here is 1 1/2. So I'll just you can use your ruler. You can use your ruler or your curve, and so that's the back, and then I'll be cutting it out. So we're almost finishing. The next thing we're going to be doing is just to, there's what we call the shoulder transfer, and I'll show you what that means and why we should do our shoulder transfer. So I have the back pattern cut out. All right, can you see? Very beautiful. And so the next thing we're going to do is called the shoulder transfer. So what do I mean by the shoulder transfer? Now, if you look at this pattern right now, you can see that this is our armhole here. Now let me place this armhole on top of it. You see? Can you see? This is the armhole. I want to tally it with the armhole of the front. You can see that it is far longer. The back armhole is longer than the front armhole. So that's how we're doing the shoulder transfer. So by the time we do the shoulder transfer, the two shoulder line, the two armhole will be equal. All right, you can see this back is longer. So by the time we transfer the shoulder, the two will become equal. So now to transfer our shoulder, we're going to ensure that the the armhole line are beside each other. So this is the armhole for the back and this is the armhole for the front. So I'll place it together this way and I'll hold it down with my paper tape just to hold it in place. Do you understand? This is the shoulder line for the front, but the back I needed to turn it over this way so that the armhole will be together. So we are going to be checking the length there, and then we'll divide into 2, and then we'll get, so that way we have transferred our shoulder line. All right, now we have transferred the shoulder line. So this is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to be checking what I have here. I'll measure it. I'll make sure my tape rule is flattened so that it doesn't affect So that's 19.5. So I'll bend my tape rule into 2 like this, just for to make it easy. And then whatever I have here, I'll just put it here, and I'll measure again, just to get the midpoint. You're just trying to get the midpoint, that's all. Just trying to get the midpoint. So I'm going to be marking it. So here's the midpoint. All right, can you see I've gotten the midpoint? So I'm going to check what I have here. I have about 3/4 here. So I'm going to replicate the 3/4 here just to get a straight line, that's all. Just to get a straight line, nothing more. Just to get a straight line. So once I get, this is my straight line. So these are new shoulder line, and I'll be cutting through this part. So but before I cut through it, I'll look at my pattern very well to be sure it doesn't need throwing. Throwing is like making sure your pattern is not going to be looking funny at the end of the day around the front, this front part. So looking at this part it seems okay. This part seems okay. Can you see? This part seems okay. This part, I can just throw it a little, a little this way. Can you see what I mean by the throwing? Just so that it's not looking funny. Just throw it a little. Can you see? So then I can cut it. Can you see? So you can come this way and then cut. So there's the back, all right, and then for the front, cut it out as well. Okay guys, so now I've cut it out. So we have the front and we have the back. All right, this is the front, this is the back. So there's one more thing that we need to do. It's called the back shaping. So for the back shaping, what we'll do is that we just come this point and we measure 3/4. For the back shaping, you come this way, that's this back. We need to shape the zip side because of puff. You understand? When you shape it, it reduces it eliminates the puff that comes as a result of a zipper. All right, and so we come here, this point, and then you mark 3/4. So here is 3/4. So once I mark it, this is my 3/4 point. Can you see? And then I'll just extend it to join at the armhole. If there was armhole line, I would have extended it to the armhole line. Do we understand? So but now, since the armhole line and the bust line, they are the same, so I'll just connect it to the armhole line. Can you see? So we're going to cut this part off. I'm sure some of you will be wondering that after cutting this part off, what happens? Will it reduce the measurement or anything? Don't worry, just do it this way. So that's it. So we have done our back shaping. So when you're connecting your zipper, you are still going to take your 1 inch all the way. So when you get it, you still take your 1 inch down all the way. You're still going to take your 1 inch all the way. All right. So that's about the pattern drafting. So I would like you to, use this method, make something and share with me. You can share with me on my IG page at Asimo Clothings. I would love to see you make something out of this. I would really love to see it. You can add your peplum top to it, and so don't forget to hold your waist darts, all right, and then combining with your side darts, to bring out the accentuation and everything, all right. So I would really like to see you make an outfit out of this.